voiceless consonants. Because they're both voiced, we call that homorganic voicing or homogeneous voicing. And because they're both voiceless, then one of them won't occur. But now, if there's a voiced and a voiceless consonant, we will always distribute the voice, the consonant blend in a heterogeneous voicing. That is, we don't have a problem saying what you think. These are punk. Okay, the NK configure, N is voice and K is voiceless. So when you hear punk or MP like jump and hump, that M and P, one is voice and P is voiceless. And that's why you can understand, you can make a voice heterogeneous voicing. And I'm just letting you know that don't go away and say I said black people don't make consonant clusters. There's a rule, and that rule is there's homogeneous voicing don't occur, but heterogeneous voicing does, and that's why certain consonant clusters don't occur. Now, the white man been telling you that black people delete final consonants. You can't delete, omit, or drop what never existed in your language in the first place. See, a Chinese person does not have an R sound in the front of certain words or in a configuration like Robert Redford likes fried rice. Robert Redford likes fried rice would present some problems for a Chinaman. The best you're going to get from a Chinaman will be Robert Redford like fly rice. Robert Redford like fly rice is because that retroflex velar aspirant that exists in English does not exist in Chinese. So instead of Robert, you get Lobert. Instead of Redford, you get Letfoot. And instead of likes, he'll give you the L for likes, but he ain't gonna give you a fried, he's gonna say flied lice. Flied lice. Now, that is an example of that same kind of interference modification. An Italian would have that problem if he was trying to say, tonight I'm going to eat some meatballs. They don't have consonant endings in Italian. So he got to put a vowel phoneme wherever a consonant ends. So tonight ends in a T, I'm ends in an M, and throughout that sentence, tonight I'm going to eat some meatballs. Instead of tonight I'm going to eat some meatballs, you get tonight I'm gonna eat some meatballs. Tonight I'm gonna eat some meatballs is an Italian accent because they don't have a consonant phoneme endings. You understand? This same thing applies when you look at black people. The closer you get to the mother country, the more evidence of Africa you see in their speech. Black people in the South, especially them in South Carolina and Georgia, where the Gula and the Geechees live, okay? There's a brother who's a pediatrician at the hospital where I work. His name is Ernie Smith also. He's a Geechee, and he was the one to let me know the difference in the Geechees and the Gula. Okay, but I want y'all to invite him out here so he can run it down to you. Be sure to ask him. Okay, but y'all have heard of the Gullah Islands and the islands off the coast of South Carolina. And you've heard of all the people out there in the Caribbean. That doggy crazy man, no fire. That doggy crazy had no fire. What is that doggy crazy had no fire? That dog is crazy. It doesn't know fire. That dog is crazy. You know no fire. If you arm where you better cover arm. If your arms are where you better cover arm. If your arms are wet, you better cover arm. If your arms are wet, you better cover them. Okay. The more closer you get to Africa, the more evidence of what I'm talking about you're going to find. And it's going to be the same sounds that are not being distributed. the people in Jamaica, the people in the Caribbean, whether it was Papiamento, the people in Suriname, the people in Haiti, they have modified the French language the same way we modified English. They have modified the Spanish language the same way we modified the language up here. Everywhere you find Africans in diaspora, you find the linguistic continuation of Africa in those European languages that we have been introduced to. And it is obscured by the profuse borrowing of words. You see, the English language itself is nothing but a bastardized German. When the English came to the island of Britain, they were hired by a Celtic king by the name of Vortigern. The people who were there were called, the Romans were there fighting people called the Scots and the Picts. These were called Celtic people. It's spelled C-E-L-T. They spell it Celt. These are Irish, the Scottish, the Gaelic, the Welsh. Those are Celtic people. They're not the same as your Germans. Your German people are your Dutch, your Danish, your Swedes, your Austrian, and your English people. The English came from Germany as mercenaries hired by this Celtic king Vortigern to help him fight the Romans. And when they ran the Romans out, the Germans kept coming and took over. The word English is derived from the word Anglish, A-N-G-L-I-S-H. That's where English comes from. The Anglo-Saxons who came from Germany speaking English, a dialect of German. This was in 549 A.D. They stayed there and they were dominating everything until 1066. There was a Frenchman by the name of William the Conqueror who brought the French army in from France, and the French began to dominate the island. The Parliament, the Catholic Church, all of the public affairs and diplomatic affairs were done in French. But the masses of the people on this island still spoke this English mixed up with some of this Celtic language. The result has been, if you look at any dictionary today, you will find that 90% of what is considered to be the English vocabulary comes from Latin and French. Look at any dictionary, Funk and Wagner's, Random House, American Heritage, Webster's, I don't care. Look at the etymology of 90% of the words. You will see that the English language is nothing but a bastardized German. What do we mean? The English language has a German grammar, but it has French and Latin words in it. The very precedent for what I am talking about exists in the English language itself. The English language does not just drop out the sky pure. In fact, there's a dialect in English in England that they consider the correct English. It's called RP, the received pronunciation. That's whatever the King of England or the Queen of England talk like. That's what good English is in England. Over here we have this thing called Standard American English. Okay? Standard American English is an ideal. Don't nobody speak it. It's some Midwestern white boys have gotten together, and most of us who come up on it have had speech pathologists and teachers trying to make us keep your teeth together and move those big thick lips so that you can correctly teach the King's English. That real betcha by golly wow. You understand? If you don't sound like a Midwestern white homosexual, you're not speaking good English. I'll tell you what it is. They have decided what ideally competent English is, and it approximates the usage of a Midwestern white male homosexual. Ain't nobody learned how to speak like that in their home environment. If you go to the South, the white boy down there tell you, memorize me, boy. The Southern white man has been so influenced by Ebonics, you can go to a restaurant, let me give you an example. M-I-K-E. Mike, right? Microphone, or somebody's name, Mike. But if I say, what difference does it, Mike? If I say, what difference does it, Mike? Now what does Mike mean? What difference does it make? I'll give you another example. M-I-K-E. I-N-E